Tonight on News 5 Live, well-known football player Woodrow West is taken into police custody following the murder of Imari Galvez. A pair of Belize City men is acquitted of murder in separate incidents. The central bank pegs the U.S. exchange rate at 2-to-1. And in tonight's episode on Belize on Reel, bamboo production as an alternative to citrus. These stories and more coming up on News 5 Live.
Whether you're in a bustling urban area or a tranquil rural community, connectivity matters. Internet access is key to continued socioeconomic development. That is why Digi, our national telecom, has and will continue to invest millions of dollars to expand its mobile and fiber networks throughout Belize. Thousands of mobile users and households, especially along the highways and in rural communities, are now enjoying the benefits of Digi's resilient infrastructure. Our national telecom will continue to lead the charge towards digital transformation by utilizing cutting-edge technology and maintaining an unwavering dedication to excellence. With our DigiWallet solution, Belizeans in urban and rural areas now have easy and safe access to a wide array of financial services via their mobile devices. And with the recent launch of Digi TV, Digi has made history, becoming the only quad play service provider in Belize. Now, customers can save with our DigiOne bundles that offer home internet, mobile, home phone, and DigiTV services all in one place. Digi is committed to providing all communities with access to high-quality, reliable, and affordable services while unlocking untapped potential and opening the doors to a brighter future for all. Be a part of the transformation and experience connectivity like never before. Because with Digi, Connectivity matters.
It's that time of the year when we honor our moms and show them how much we love and appreciate them. Visit us at Cellular World and we can help you find a great gift for her with our Mother's Day steals and heartfelt deals. Show your love in a special way with our crazy discounts on great gift options so you can spoil your mom without breaking the bank. From luxurious tech products to stylish and affordable accessories. Budget phones as low as $59. Tablets start at only $149. Speakers as low as $45. TVs start at only $519. And laptops and Chromebook for only $499. Wireless chargers, smartwatches, accessories, and so much more. Visit us at any of our 5 locations in Belize City, Belmopan, and San Pedro. Or shop via our virtual store on Facebook, Instagram, or WhatsApp at 615-5141. Shop with us to find the perfect gift that will make your mom feel extra special.
You have been a safe driver all your life when an unavoidable accident happens. But this does not mean that your insurance premium must increase. With RF&G's Accident Forgiveness Program, safe drivers will not lose their no-claims discounts because of those minor, unavoidable accidents. For more information on RF&G's Accident Forgiveness Program, contact us at 223-5734. When it comes to motor insurance, it pays to get it right with RF&G Insurance, a road group company.
Here's your chance. The stage is waiting. We're looking for talented Belizean singers for another season of KTV The Remix. KTV auditions will take place on Saturday, June 3rd and Sunday, June 11th, starting at 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. at Channel 5 on Coney Drive in Belize City. We're also now accepting online submissions. 2-minute videos can be emailed to producer at channel5belize.com or DM KTV Remix on Facebook. Deadline, Sunday, June 11th at 5 p.m. Come be a part of the biggest singing competition of the year. KTV The Remix, only on Channel 5.
This newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Thursday, May 18th. I am Sabrina Daly. 48 hours have passed since the lifeless body of 19-year-old Belmopan resident Imari Galvez was found off the Hummingbird Highway. Police are yet to level any charges as the investigation continues. But on Wednesday night, inquiries led them to a football match in Orange Walk where the captain of Verdes Football Club, Woodrow West, was detained. West was in a relationship with the murder victim, and information suggested that he was in hiding following the discovery of her lifeless body. But West was in plain sight because the semi-pro goalkeeper was participating in a match that was being aired live on national TV. News 5's Paul Lopez takes a closer look.
Woodrow West, captain of Verdes Football Club, was detained for questioning by police on Wednesday night in connection with the murder of 19-year-old Imari Galvez. West was escorted off the pitch during a football match in Orange Walk Town that was being carried on live television. News 5 spoke with Lorian Fraser, manager of Verdes FC, following the match.
I was sitting in the stands when I saw the police. I think it was 4 MIT officers enter the field of play, and they seem to be moving towards the goal. The goal where Mr. West was ending now. However, I cannot necessarily say from my vantage point if they did follow what would be football protocol, where the match commissioner is the person who is tasked and holds the responsibility of conducting a match, and who is responsible for who enters and leaves the field of play now.
On Wednesday night, just before West was detained, Commissioner of Police Chester Williams announced that a popular Belizean footballer was being sought for questioning in connection with the murder. Woodrow West and the 19-year-old victim were in a relationship back in March 2022 when he was suspended from the Belize national football team for assaulting her in public. The entire incident was captured on camera, including moments when he threatened to shoot her. Imari Galvez's lifeless body was found in a state of decomposition on Tuesday night along a feeder road near mile 40 on the Hummingbird Highway. She was nude and reportedly sustained a gunshot injury. Galvez went missing between Saturday night and early Sunday morning. Her family believes that she was lured to her death by someone she knew. Despite the gruesome murder, West still suited up and took to the field on Wednesday night in his team's first playoff match of the season.
Unfortunately, I reached the match just at the time when the players were about to walk on. But I did have a conversation with Mr. West on the telephone about after 2 p.m. And his temperament or his state of mind was that he was ready to be there for his team and play the match, especially seeing that the magnitude of the game was our first playoff match for the 2023 closing season.
Where does he stand right now? Where does Verde stand on his alleged involvement, or more so his detention? Where does Verde stand on that as it pertains to his position on the team?
Well, by virtue of the magnitude of the case, we would prefer, and as is right, that the police do their investigation and let the chips fall where they may, and based on those findings, definitely heard us with act or not act based on what or the direction the investigation is leading now. But as far as we're concerned at this moment, a person is innocent until proven guilty, and we will not hasten to punish anyone, especially if he is innocent.
Reports are that a second male suspect has handed himself into police for questioning. West also played a match with Verdes on Sunday night, which would have been hours after Galvez went missing. We also asked Fraser about the video from last year in which West assaulted Galvez. He informed us that West was placed on suspension and later allowed to return to the team. Police are yet to level charges for this heinous crime. On Wednesday, reporters asked the victim's family this question about West.
When I saw it earlier in the night, she went out with this Mr. West, but she quickly returned, telling you that he was drunk, and so she wouldn't go with him anymore. Do you think he came back for her later on?
No, I don't think so. My heart don't give me that. My heart don't tell me that. Nope.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
45-year-old Alan Felix is one of 2 men acquitted of murder today for separate incidents they were suspected of committing. Felix was on remand for the 2018 murder of businessman Mario Guerrero, who was bludgeoned to death with a bar stool inside his home on Sunset Park. This afternoon, Felix appeared before Justice Ricardo O'Neill Sancroft who ruled that the Crown did not prove the guilt of the accused beyond a reasonable doubt. It is reported that 3 video clips showing the last 5 hours of Guerrero's life were pieced together as evidence. However, a copy of the DVD containing the footage was ruled inadmissible in trial when the Crown failed to prove that the chain of custody for the digital video disc was not broken. Inside the courtroom, Justice Sancroft said, "I am not satisfied that the prosecution proved the case beyond a reasonable doubt. So, I am acquitting you of murder. You are free to go." Wasting no time, Felix, who had been on pretrial detention since 2018, dashed through the doors of the courtroom and into Battlefield Park, letting out a loud roar. The other prisoner to be set free today was 25-year-old Antoine Rivera. He was acquitted of the murder of Marcia Downs, who was shot and killed as she exited her residence on Handyside Street in April 2018. This matter was also heard before Justice Ricardo O'Neill Sancroft. Senior Crown Counsel Portia Stain Ferguson opened the case by reading more than 8 witness statements. Her Crown witness, however, was set to testify virtually. Now 17 years old, the minor was asked whether he remembered the events of the night of April 11, 2018. That's when he told the court, quote, "I already said I no want to give evidence," unquote. Attorney Oscar Salgado subsequently made a no-case submission when the Crown failed to produce evidence linking Rivera to the crime he was accused of committing. Justice Sancroft agreed and freed Rivera of the charge. Coming up, 17 persons rescued at sea. Find out the details of these stories when we come back.
Adopting a second child was our best decision ever. Now our daughter Alexis has a little brother to play with.
Know that we have our son, our family is complete.
Contact the Department of Human Services and find out how you can become a foster or adoptive parent and be that heart of gold.
After a rough week of school, Jake and his friends decide to treat themselves to frozen coffee. And since they don't have cash on them, they decide to use eCash. With eCash's geolocation feature, Jake can easily find the nearest coffee spot. With eCash's built-in option to split bills, Jake can pay the bill and his friends can reimburse their portion of the bill. Jake scans the merchant's code and confirms payment. Jake then views his transaction history and taps on the transaction recently made, then taps the Split the Bill button where he selects the Evenly option to evenly split the bill. The application splits the bill automatically. His friends receive and accept the request. Geolocation and splitting the bill via eCash makes Jake enjoy his digital lifestyle.
My name is Janine and I live in Belize City. I've been a social worker for 2 years now. Social work is actually a difficult job. It takes a lot from you, not physically, but mentally. I went for an interview once for a job in dealing with youths at risk. And while in the interview, I was asked the question if I'm sure I wanted the job because it was dealing with troubled youth. And the interviewer looked at me and said, well, we would prefer a male for the job. I was hurt at first because I thought I was as qualified as the male to get the job. And it really stuck with me because then I thought, if I am as qualified, why wasn't I chosen? Why would you want to eliminate 50% of the workforce? People are supposed to be hired based on merit and not gender.
Do you have a passion for the ocean and the world of diving? Get ready for a life-changing adventure. Blackbird Key Resort on Turnef Atoll, Belize's leading dive resort, presents our 6-month dive internship program. Train with the best in the industry as we guide you from the fundamentals to achieving dive master and/or boat captain certifications. No experience is required, just a passion for diving and a desire to make a positive impact in the marine environment. Learn to become a dive professional at Blackbird Key Resort and earn between $4,000 to $8,000 per month on average. A truly rewarding and fulfilling career path. Dive into a life-changing experience. Apply for our dive internship program by emailing intern@blackbirdresort.com today. You can also visit our website for more information.
Investment Services Explained. In September 1999, SSB's Mortgage and Investment Unit was created. The unit later became the Investment Department in 2005 and officially Investment Services in October 2007. So, what is the Investment Services role? How does Investment Services help to support Social Security and you? And why is Investment Services important to Belize? Investment Services' function is to make prudent investments in the form of commercial loans, shares, and real estate development. The interest income generated from these investments ensures the fund is sustainable to pay current and future Social Security benefits to its insured persons. The investment income is used to support the working population and pay pensions such as retirement and invalidity. Additionally, investment loans support economic development through commercial loans to startup and existing businesses while aiding in increased production of goods and services. We can expect Investment Services to continuously impact the lives of every insured person through Social Security pensions. Investment Services will continue to support the Belizean economy through secure investments in various industries. And that is why Investment Services exists. Social Security Board, an investment for you, your family, your future.
Tour guides, your renewal season is coming up. Please be advised that all tour guide license expires on July 31st, 2023. BTB will start accepting applications for renewals starting May 1st, 2023. Tour guides, we're asking you to apply early in order to have a new and valid license before the current one expires. To submit via email, you'll need a clear scan of each document in PDF format and properly named and labeled. Send your application with all supporting documents to tourguide@belizetourismboard.org and include your full name and your tour guide license number in the subject line of the email. Remember to fill out your applications correctly, as BTB will no longer be accepting incomplete applications. Contact our licensing officers at 227-2420 and press 1 if you have any questions or concerns.
On Wednesday, information spread quickly of a boat that capsized in the English Key Channel just off the coast of Belize City. 17 passengers were on board the vessel traveling from Rendezvous Key to English Key when the boat began taking in water. The Belize Coast Guard received the distress call around 5:20 and quickly deployed a team to the scene. Fortunately, it was a cruise ship day and a catamaran returning tourists to the ship came up on the sinking vessel. All 17 passengers were rescued by the time the Belize Coast Guard personnel arrived. News 5 can confirm that several of the passengers were transported by ambulance to the hospital for treatment. Coast Guard's Operations Officer Melissa Jones shares details.
We received a call concerning a vessel which capsized, and we activated as protocol or quick response team. And however, upon arrival at the scene, there were 17 individuals. We did not do per se a rescue. However, we did a recovery, and there was a catamaran within the area who assisted them. But we played a role in assisting the captain by retrieving the vessel and towing it to safe harbor. The type of vessel is a launch-on vessel, and the reason it's taken in water as to the integrity of the hull. The captain revealed to us that he believed that they had hit a rock of some, and then due to the integrity of the hull, it caused the vessel to be taken in water. So it was taken in water for a slow period of time.
A day earlier, the Belize Coast Guard also assisted a U.S. national who had suffered diverse sickness while driving out at the turn of Atoll Benz. Benz is decompression sickness that is caused by a rapid decrease in the air pressure that surrounds a person while he or she is engaged in deep sea diving. In this incident on Tuesday, Coast Guard personnel stationed at the forward operating base at Calabash Key conducted medical evacuation, and the patient was transported to San Pedro town. The American national, who was at Blackbird Key Resort, was handed over to paramedics to undergo treatment in the decompression chamber. Operations Officer Lieutenant Junior Grade Melissa Jones shares details.
A call from the resort requesting our assistance, and with that we assisted by activating our quick response team, who then did a medical evacuation. And with that crew that did that medical evacuation crew, there was a medic on board who assisted and played a vital role in the stabilization of the patient from Blackbird Key to San Pedro. When our medic did assess the individual, it was a mild case of Benz. It wasn't severe, so all he had to do was maintaining the stability of him as to the intake of his oxygen, monitoring that throughout the journey from Blackbird to San Pedro, where he was then handed over to a paramedic from the Belize Chamber Project Limited.
Does this happen often? Do you guys often have to help people who have caught the Benz while diving?
Well, when it comes to the Benz case, we don't have much of that incident. However, we do several medical evacuations, which are within our area of responsibility, that our quick response team, where always have a medical on board, will assist, whether it's from the northern area, the central area, or the southern area.
Today is recognized across the world as International Day for Women in Maritime. The day is being recognized under the theme Mobilizing Networks for Gender Equality. First established in 2021, the day celebrates women in the industry and is intended to promote the recruitment, retention, and sustained employment of women in the maritime sector. The Belize Port Authority held an event this afternoon where several women were awarded for their work in the field.
Similar issues than other sectors that have gender barriers, such as harassment, such as unequal pay, such as the glass ceiling that's ever so present. When you look at the data, you can see that the opportunities, the window of opportunities as you go higher up decreases over time. And so that clearly indicates that there is an issue, because there isn't lack of female talent, but there is lack of female opportunities, or opportunities that should be for both males and females. And so the glass ceiling is ever present in the sector. So that, I would say, would be some of the issues faced by the women in the sector. We will need to really look at the data, but for example, for the various agencies, we have seen that there is a lot of female participation in the sector, because it's a very diverse sector. We have shipping agents, which have a lot of females. We have the Maritime Administration, which has a lot of females. The Port Authority, we also have almost 40% females. So I do believe that there is a level of interest for the sector because it's a very dynamic sector, and so it should appeal to females as well. For the awardees from the Belize Port Authority, we are awarding the 8 members of the WIMAC, which we are promoting the association for the Caribbean. And so because they signed up for it, that to us indicates that they are interested in the subject matter. They want to know more about the issues that women face, and they want to work towards creating better opportunities for women.
The Central Bank of Belize has officially fixed buying rate of the U.S. dollar at 2 Belize dollars to 1 U.S. dollar effective May 2nd. Governor of the Central Bank, Kareem Michael, explained the rationale behind the decision, saying that the focus has primarily been on cash instruments, specifically currency notes, which were subject to complaints and concerns from the public. He says that by resetting the buying rate to 2 to 1 for authorized dealers, issues faced by individuals in their everyday transactions will be addressed.
The decision that was recently made was on the cash portion or the cash instruments, the currency notes. So the US dollar that, let's say, John Doe goes to the commercial bank and gives to the commercial bank to place into his account, that now has gone from that margin of 1.98 to 2 to strictly 2 back to the exchange rate. And the central bank for a number of years have received quite a bit of concerns, complaints from the public regarding this issue. The example I like to use is the taxi or tour operator who may have received a tip for $20 US and then attempts to go to the gas station to put in the equivalent of $40 gas. He probably would have been, in a number of instances, been refused by that gas station of taking the $20, because when that owner of that gas station goes to the commercial bank to deposit, that owner of that gas station gets roughly $38.60 after having given out the equivalent of 40 Belize dollars in gas. So you can see how that's an issue for the everyday person. So what we did in early May was to focus first primarily on the cash that ends up in our economy. It's part of circulation that we're saying, listen, that rate at which the commercial banks as authorized dealers can buy that cash is back to 2 to 1.
According to the central bank governor, the decision of the bank to fix the exchange rate of 2 Belize dollars to 1 US dollar will greatly benefit the public. And while that is good news for consumers, Michael says that there was some level of pushback by the commercial banks.
Certainly the commercial banks as authorized dealers voice concerns similar to yours, that they would be losing or incurring now more expenses for the administration of certain services and lines of products. And that's well within their right to express. They're obviously a private institution that is motivated by profit and to return income or dividends to their shareholders. So that's understandable. What we do hope is that the financial model or business model employed by commercial banks would account already for some of these services, and then you're pricing various products for to compensate for what may have been lost through this harmonization.
After the break, Excelsior graduate making an honest living by helping people. But first, here's a weather update with data from the Belize Met Service.
Brian and Marta continued walking in town and met Martin, who had a tourism business that was one of the largest in town. His job was to take tourists to places they could enjoy. They thought that he was probably not affected by climate change.
Mr. Martin, how are you doing? Excuse me, do you mind if we could ask you a few questions? It's for a school assignment.
Martin did not take his eyes off the computer where he was working and responded to the greeting without much hesitation.
It depends on what it is. It's just that I'm busy. If it's not something that will interrupt me for a long time, it's okay.
We just want to know if changes in the weather have affected your work.
Let me see. 3 tour groups have already canceled their service. They're not coming. How do you think I'm doing?
Why have the groups cancelled?
Well, for many reasons. First, every so often it rains, and the tourists don't want to come to lock themselves up in hotel rooms. They want to visit trails and beaches, but if it's raining, they cannot go out. When they go out, the beaches are littered with garbage. Also, in many areas, the beach has been eroded, and there is nowhere to get the tourists off. And if you take them to the river, since there are no more trees along the river, when it rains, a lot of mud comes, and the water looks dirty, and the tourists don't like that. Nobody likes that, you know? Also, water supply in the town is bad. The well dries up every so often and hotels run out of water. Who's gonna want to come like this?
And do you think that's because of climate change?
I don't know why it is. You asked me how I was doing, and I already told you. I believe that this will be solved if the town council will build breakwaters or seawalls to prevent the sea from eating the beach, and also more wells so that there is enough water. And why not? If it would assist in improving tourism services, we can't deal with this situation anymore.
Brian and Marta said goodbye to Martin, who was already back to his computer. They were surprised to discover that climate change was also affecting the top tourism businessman in town. As they walked in search of someone else to interview, they reflected and discussed what Martin had told them.
To tell you the truth, I don't think that the solutions that this man mentioned are the best. He is only thinking of his benefit.
My father told me that once there were many mangroves around the beaches, but they have been cut down to build houses and hotels, and that is why there is no longer any beach. I do think Mr. Martin is thinking of his own interests. You saw he didn't pay that much attention to us, but his business is suffering. Imagine how many clients he had in those 3 groups that canceled their visit. Have you realized that everyone we've talked to has told us the same thing? Even my dad this morning. I guess that all trouble comes from climate change, because it either rains too much or there is too much heat. Seawater also warms up, the sea level rises, and the beach is swallowed up. Tourists no longer come because there is no beach. The rain sweeps away the soil needed to plant and harvest, and then people have to cut down trees in the forest to plant somewhere else.
And that means that there is a lack of water and that the wells dry up and no water reaches the town. But we can't do anything to control the weather, or do you think we can? And if so, how could we change this?
Brian and Marta kept reflecting on this, and their talk only made them more uneasy. They were both worried that the situation could get worse with time. And although they did not talk to each other, they were also concerned that later on, they would no longer be able to live there. And they did not stop thinking about what could happen with all the people, with their families, and of course, with their friends from town.
Smart introduces Real Unlimited Postpaid Plans, providing customers with unlimited talk, unlimited text, and unlimited data. Now that's a real great deal. With Smart Plus, Share 1 and 2, and Enterprise 1 and 2 plans, you can talk as much as you want, text as much as you want, and for the first time ever in Belize, you can enjoy unlimited data with your postpaid plan. So come in and sign up for an unlimited postpaid plan and enjoy limitless possibilities. In addition, other plans such as the Flex Junior, Choice, and Select have been boosted with a lot more talk, text, and data, providing you with the best value for your budget. Be unlimited with Smart. It's time to power your dollar with Smart.
Like Chester Williams once says, we know that who they pull the trigger. Well, if you know that who they pull the trigger, you know where party go find the guns.
Every gunshot that fires in Belize City, I know who do it. Yes.
Sir, but I am saying, and I know factually, that these licenses are being monetized and that people close to you are selling licenses. There are a thing called a guaranteed license. And that if you buy this weapon from this particular place, then we guarantee there will be a license.
Every gunshot that fires in Belize City, I know who do it.
I have heard so many reports that gun license sell for $3,000, but you pay $2,000 for the gun, and then the other $1,000 goes to a friend of the commissioner. That's the way they say.
Yes.
We know who they are, and we need to go into the communities and get these guns off the street.
I know who do it. Every gunshot that fires in Belize City, I know who do it. Yes.
Taking its name from the venerable father of the nation, the George Price Highway stretches 77 miles from Belize City to Benqueviejo. Originally built in the 1930s, this cross-country highway system is the artery that links Belize to Central America at the western border with Guatemala. That connection facilitates overland trade, supporting Belize's economic development. Winding its way across the scenic countryside, the George Price Highway from Roaring Creek to Esperanza has been fully reconstructed to meet international standards, with particular emphasis on road safety. A shorter and hassle-free commute is best enjoyed when everyone obeys the traffic laws. To reduce the number and frequency of road traffic accidents, it means that a seatbelt must be worn at all times and the speed limit observed when traveling along the highway. It also means that pedestrians must use sidewalks and crosswalks where available. Buses should only board and discharge passengers at a designated bus stop. Road safety is everyone's responsibility. It begins with you.
Explore the great outdoors with Benny's Quality and Savings.
The citrus industry is all but defunct, and stakeholders are now seeking alternative crops to grow on vast acreages that were in use for the cultivation of oranges. In tonight's episode of Belize on Real, News 5's Isani Kayatana traveled down to Hope Creek, where he visited Agricultural Development Services, a business that is expanding to include bamboo cultivation. Here's that story.
A change from oranges, limes and grapefruits for citrus farmers in the Stan Creek Valley is inevitable. A thriving industry that was once the lifeblood of the South is now a shell of its former self. Stakeholders are forced to expand into new areas of business if they are to remain competitive in agriculture.
The concept of bamboo came about after looking at all different potential industries that could replace the outgoing citrus industry and the possibility of an outgoing banana industry, and what best would fit in this area that is almost wholly dependent on those industries.
Dr. Henry Canton is the former CEO of Citrus Products of Belize Limited. As a grower, he was also heavily invested in the industry. Over the years, Canton has witnessed a steady decline in the profitability of citrus, and, observing the writings on the wall, he was among the first to explore other possibilities.
We realized that bamboo is a natural fit for Belize for many, many reasons, being that it grows naturally. As you see along all the riversides, wherever moisture is, the variety that we need is naturally here. So it's indigenous to our area already. It's non-invasive. It is a grass which lends to a much larger carbon footprint and carbon sequestration process. It is not highly intensive in regards to the agricultural requirements after it's planted. And when you look at the actual economic returns on it, it's not bad.
Leading the charge for diversification, Canton has assembled a team of agronomists, including a husband and wife couple. Together, they are looking at the viability of bamboo as a new growth industry in southern Belize. Amelio Chi spent 10 years in the sugar industry before coming on board with this initiative.
Unlike sugarcane, its harvesting window for bamboo is a bit bigger compared to sugarcane. So there's a benefit on that side, because you know up north we suffer a lot because of the rainy seasons within the dry period. So unlike sugarcane, bamboo has that benefit that it offers you a bigger window for harvesting.
Bamboos include some of the fastest growing plants in the world due to a unique rhizome dependent system. Certain species can grow as much as 36 inches within a 24-hour period.
We are not looking to clear any forest, any virgin forest for us to do this expansion. We are looking at using lands that have previously been cleared for agriculture use, lands that have been used maybe for citrus, bananas, or any other crop that has been tried in the area that has not worked.
This rapid growth and tolerance for marginal land make bamboo a candidate for establishing a stand of trees where there was no recent tree cover, storing carbon in a carbon pool, as well as climate change mitigation. According to Canton, the economic returns on bamboo are tremendous.
It's probably, in my umpteen years in citrus, I would say that it's comparable, if not better than citrus. And I know that it's comparable, if not much, much better than sugar. And maybe where banana is at this point in time, because the banana prices have come down substantially. So we as a group believe that it's the proper fit for the country and for the area and for the economics of the area and the country.
Prime Minister John Briceño met with Canton and several investors recently to discuss the viability of the bamboo industry in Belize. Government has since given its stamp of approval for the project.
Government was very, very receptive. We've met, our first meeting initially was with agriculture, new growth, finance. We met with the Prime Minister, then also individually, and we got tremendous support, in particular from investment, Ms. Narda Garcia, CEO. We also, this visit that we had, we met with the environment because we wanted to, having passed the environmental permitting in Jamaica, we wanted to find out what is the next best steps and how do we proceed. And I must say that Minister Habet and Mr. Kenrick Gordon, his environmental officer, was extremely helpful and guiding us along the way.
Reporting for News 5, I am Imari Galvez.
The Statistical Institute of Belize has the unemployment rate at 5%. But we all know that jobs are hard to find. Harder to find are choice jobs with working hours that fit our own personal schedules. Today, News 5 followed a youth who, although he knows what career path he wants, has created his own form of employment by helping people. Ian Henry let us in on what he does and took us to his home where we sat down with his mom to talk about the child she raised from birth to the respectful young man who may have crossed your path if ever you have needed to catch a bus at the Belize City bus terminal. News 5's Marion Ali reports.
GM's bus line. We have two buses that come. We have an express and we have a regular. Ian Henry is a fixture at the Belize City Bus Terminal. The 18-year-old graduated from Excelsior High School in 2022 and since then has made the terminal his place of work, creating an opportunity for himself that a lot of youths his age would scoff at.
I carry bags here on the bus for people. I like helping people.
Helping people is something that Ian began at an early age. He charges $10 to carry your luggage pieces from the terminal entrance to the bus you're traveling on. But for passengers aged 60 and older, he does the honors for free. He also extends that courtesy to mothers with babies in their arms. Ian's mom, Shanella Sutherland, revealed that he has been purposeful from a very young age.
He just like to help people. Like when he go and buy, he usually like stop and say, "You want to mind your bike?" And then people will say, "Okay," and that is how he start off. That was from he was 12 years old.
Shanella shared how the idea came about for Ian to work for himself at the terminal.
One day he came to me and his dad and said, how you guys think if I would go to the terminal and, make my only cash?" So if father talk about it, we sit him down and talk about it, and it was first decided it wasn't a bad idea, but just stay out of trouble. We never tell him, well, no, because we know he don't like sit down. He like work.
Ian does far more than carry people's luggage for them. He knows the time and route for each bus that leaves the terminal.
Next bus to PG, 12 o'clock, James bus line. Dangriga, Damapan Express, Punta Gorda.
Shanella says a little while after she and Ian's father, Police Sergeant Eric Henry, agreed to allowing their son to go to earn his keep, she had to go see for herself what he was up to. And what she saw impressed her.
I said, I can stop in and just say what Ian up to. But the first time I did it, I never make him see me. And I like, okay, this is not really how Ian do his thing. And I see him make a whole pile of lines and interact, hand movement, and I look by time. I see all of that and I like, this is not really how Ian. I never make him see me the next time when I gone. I got my son and I just stand up and watch him from outside by the door. And I say, and do your thing. I say, wait. He even talk Spanish. And I even know he could talk Spanish like that. Last bus to Corozal. Las 7:45, give me last 8.
And you speak Spanish?
Yes, I speak poquito español.
Explain to me. You set your own working hours. How?
Well, from 8 o'clock to 5:30. That's my working hours. But if I do have extra, customers, you may help, I stay extra hour, if anything. If it's like a little bit event that is coming up to Dangriga, well, I stay extra hours, and help out people. I carry bags on the bus for them, and they like my service.
But this jovial young man has a career goal.
I aspire to be a custom officer. That is what I aspire to be. From a young age, I decided, you know what? I want to be a custom officer. I want to work with customs. Yes.
Have you applied for a job there?
Well, not as yet. When the time is right.
Shanella says her son takes what he does seriously, as if he has to.
Everybody would have asked, where's son do at the terminal to work? Or how you do that? And if father that sergeant of police, if brother that police. I have a business in my shop that I front the boy not open at the moment, but he knows somebody with a lot of passion. And I never say, you're not be this. Or father never say, you're not be this. I always say, go for your dreams. Parents give the okay. And the terminal also, the management, they give an okay.
Aside from Ian, Shanella is mother to 4 other children. She knows all too well the responsibilities in raising children to be respectful and respectable adults.
If you want better for your children, you always have to speak. You always have to push them for better in life. You should never stop as a parent.
And to the youths who say work is hard to come by, Ian says not so.
Watch out. Work there out here. You can make work for yourself. I make access for myself as a youth. A lot of work there on the street. You don't need to stay on the street and hustle and beg and thief. You can make yourself access. You can go to somebody else if they need anything from the shop, call tip or what's not. Do something positive with your life, youths.
And for the travelers who may have forgotten to pray today, he has this sobering reminder.
I always love God without God, you are nothing. Put God first.
Reporting for News 5, I'm Marian Ali.
When we return, a national strategic dialogue on COP27 and COP28.
This Mother's Day, celebrate that special woman who holds your family together. Start her day off right, complete with love and smiles. But why stop there? At Brothers Habet, we believe in celebrating moms all month long. We're offering big discounts all throughout May, like 15% off all mowing, kitchen and bathroom faucets and accessories, 15% off all Penta paints, and much more. And for the ultimate Mother's Day gift, purchase any Penta paint during May and get a chance to win big. Every week, we're giving away $100 to a lucky mom, and at the end of the month, one lucky mom will receive a grand prize of $1,000. Give mom the gift she truly deserves from Brothers Habet. Happy Mother's Day to all the super moms out there, and we hope to see you in store soon.
Join us on May 20th at Digi Park in Belize City for EU in the Park. A fun-filled festival day with activities for the entire family, including live performance by Pen Caetano and band, face painting, art, yoga, and dance classes for adults and children. 2 European films on screen, giveaways, and so much more. The event is free and open to the public. While enjoying the fun, learn about European countries and discover information on scholarship opportunities to study in Europe. The fun starts at 2 p.m. with films from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. See you there!
With eCash, bill payment is extremely convenient, and all utility companies accept eCash payments. What's even better? You get to split bills with your roommates, siblings, or whoever you desire. Simply open your eCash app, go to Bill Pay, tap the respective utility company, enter the information, and pay the bill. Then tap the transaction made. Tap Split the bill. Select Evenly. Send the request to who you are splitting the bill with, and get notified when they pay. Talk about making life easy and avoiding confusion. You can split the bill for restaurants, grocery stores, and for any eCash payment you make. To find your next yummy meal, hair treatment, or chill spot, simply open the app and utilize the geolocation service to see nearby businesses that accept eCash. Geolocation and bill payment make life a whole lot easier.
Sign up for Smart Share Plan and save big. Whether you're a small entrepreneur starting up your business, a student on a limited budget, or a family trying to save, this is the plan for you. With unlimited SMS, calls, and data, we help you save. Get up to 5 lines for as low as $30 per line monthly, only with Smart. Sign up today at any Smart showroom or sales manager countrywide. So get your business going, share more memories with friends, and be ready for the day with Smart.
Today at the Biltmore Plaza Hotel in Belize City, stakeholders across the public and private sectors were engaged in discussion about climate change and all its facets. The National Strategic Dialogue was to discuss the outcomes of COP27 that was held in November 2022 in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, and Belize's outlook for the upcoming Conference of Parties later this year in Dubai. News 5's Dwayne Moody reports.
For many, the discourse on climate change continues to be incomprehensible. At the community level, changes in the environment, including erosion and brush fires, are clear to be seen, but are still not being associated with climate change. But they are. More intense storms, extended droughts, and the related destructiveness are among the impacts of climate change.
What we find, not just in Belize, but all over CARICOM, is while people have heard the term climate change, they don't link a lot of what they're experiencing to climate change. So there is a big awareness gap. And so it is the responsibility of our governments, it's the responsibility of our donors and entities like the 5 Cs to ensure that we do more to increase the awareness of our people.
Our challenge is our ability to recover, and that is what we call resilience, right? We need to invest in building the resilience. So when there's a hurricane, we estimated $212 million. That $212 million is on farmers, on tourists, on tourism, and all of these sectors that push us back way. So it pushes us back a few years, and our recovery will therefore be very slow.
It's against this backdrop that Belize has been sending a delegation to the annual Conference of Parties, or the COP series, but it has been considered a talk shop of sorts, and minimal successes have been achieved. CEO in the Ministry of Climate Change and Disaster Risk Management, Dr. Kenrick Williams, speaks of the outcomes of COP27.
Some challenge in terms of still remaining discussions on Article 6 as it relates to markets and the larger discussions on carbon. There is still challenges in keeping to the 1.5 degrees Celsius. There's still a lot of nations not meeting the emission reductions that we want. There's been a lot of zero pledge in terms of emission reductions, but in reality we're still not seeing that. Climate finance remains an issue in terms of that finance getting on the ground. It's still cumbersome, it's challenging for nations to get there. We have some incremental success, however, coming out of the COP, both for Belize and on a global scale. So on a global scale, I think most people know that there is some agreement on the establishment of a loss and damage fund. What that would look like, the institutional framework, the design is still yet unknown and is still being negotiated. There's been some agreement or some incremental progress in terms of financing. In addition to the loss and damage fund, there's been some additional financing committed.
Belize was successful in negotiating with the Initiative for Climate Action Transparency and the Central American Commission for Environment and Development to host the Regional Transparency Center in the country. This, among discussions to establish the potential of Belize's biodiversity credits in the carbon market, was also achieved. From a CARICOM standpoint, COP was partially successful relative to what the region's priorities were.
We did not make the kind of progress that was demanded by the science and by what was called for by the IPCC reports. The real takeaway in terms of perhaps the biggest benefit to CARICOM and small island developing states was the decision to set up a loss and damage fund. But that is just the first part of a long process, because the fund now has to be set up, has to be capitalized, and how countries can access the resources from the fund is going to be the next fight that we have to have. CARICOM is going to continue to demand that fund, this loss and damage fund, cannot look anything like the existing funds. It can't look like the GCF, it can't look like the adaptation fund, it can't look like other mechanisms, because those are not serving the needs of countries. The scale is too low, little, small, and the speed is way too slow.
Belize is preparing its national strategic position going into COP28 to be held in Dubai later this year. But is the frustration of not getting what is needed to build our resiliency as a country and people worth it?
It can be a frustrating talk shop, really, being part of the process, because you see the dynamics of negotiations at play. But I also said on the flip side, if we're not at the table, we're on the menu. We have to be part of the discussion to defend the priorities. We have to be at the table as a country, as regional partnerships. So through CARICOM and AOSIS, we have to be part of the discussion to say, this is the impact of climate change on Belize. This is the impact on farmers. This is the impact on, because that's important, again, for the investments that people make. That's important for the commitments that people make. And we continue to challenge these countries that the reality is that there's true daily implications of climate change that we feel.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
Creating awareness on the impacts of climate change at the community level is among the work that government, multinational agencies, and NGOs have been doing. It includes looking at Belize's resiliency in the agriculture sector and minimizing carbon footprint, as well as the energy sector and looking at renewable energy. But recently, there has been the issue of forest fires and the effects on biodiversity, as well as the health of the people. Today, Executive Director of the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center, Dr. Colin Young, spoke of the linkage between climate change and forest fires, and that it is not just a problem in Belize. Data from the Fire Information for Resource Management System shows that forest fires are affecting the Central American region.
The forest fire situation in Belize has been getting worse over the years. A few years ago, I was writing quite a bit about how destructive it is to biodiversity and also to human health. As you saw, the particulate matter that is in that smoke is absolutely dangerous, and it worsens respiratory issues, it worsens asthma, and I think it absolutely is something that the officials need to do a little bit more about. What happens is that because there is the increase in temperature, there's less moisture in the soil and in the forest. We are talking about a year after Lisa, in which Lisa destroyed a lot of forests. And so there was a lot of dead fuel load sitting on the forest elsewhere. And so when people light fires for agricultural uses, those fires spread. And when they spread, there was a lot of fuel load on the forest floors, which burned a significant amount of forests. So this is one thing that is directly linked to climate change. It is global warming that is causing increased droughts, it's causing the soil to dry out, it's causing the fuel load to build up in the forest. And then when you have a match, you get a huge fire. So this is not just a Belize problem. If you were to look at the firm's database for all of Central America, it looks like one red blob where there's fires burning everywhere. And this is only going to become worse, and I would hope that there would be some practical solutions that are developed between the entities like Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Sustainable Development, Climate Change, and landowners, so that such an issue can be decreased over time.
The landscape of Belize has been changing over time as several coastal communities are being washed away. We've been documenting the erosion happening in Monkey River, Gales Point, Barranco, and other areas along the coast. It is an issue that is expected to get worse as sea level is projected to increase. Fisherman and tour operator Imari Galvez has been leading intervention efforts in Monkey River, similar to what was done at Silk Key to address the erosion situation there. But is it all in vain? 5C's Executive Director Colin Young shares comments on the erosion situation in Belize.
Well, I mean, I think we have to do what we can when we can, right? We cannot just sit by and do nothing. And I think any effort that is done to try to slow what is a continuous process, I think has to be commended. I do believe, however, though, that sometimes we have to ensure that we're not doing maladaptation, that what we're doing is not worsening the situation downwind or down beach of what is being done. But you could never blame people for trying to save their infrastructure, to save their beaches, to save land. I think we have to try to see how we can help to ensure that whatever intervention is made is going to be sustainable in the long run. But the truth be told is when we look at the WMO's projections, when we look at the IPCC's projections of increasing sea level, including in the Caribbean, we will have a serious issue in Belize and with erosion. Because the rule of thumb is that there's a 1 to 100 relationship with sea level rise and flooding. So in other words, if sea level rises by an inch, it's going to flood 100 inches. If it rises by a foot, it's going to flood 100 feet of beach. And so Mr. Galvez and others is almost like Sisyphus. You know, you're pushing the rock up the hill. And the moment you stop, it's going to roll back down the hill. But I would like to commend anybody who is trying to stop what is clearly going to be it's already a big problem and will become a bigger one.
Up next, will Mayor Wagner run in the next general elections?
Taking its name from the venerable father of the nation, the George Price Highway stretches 77 miles from Belize City to Benqueviejo. Originally built in the 1930s, this cross-country highway system is the artery that links Belize to Central America at the western border with Guatemala. That connection facilitates overland trade, supporting Belize's economic development. Winding its way across the scenic countryside, the George Price Highway from Roaring Creek to Esperanza has been fully reconstructed to meet international standards, with particular emphasis on road safety. A shorter and hassle-free commute is best enjoyed when everyone obeys the traffic laws. To reduce the number and frequency of road traffic accidents, it means that a seatbelt must be worn at all times and the speed limit observed when traveling along the highway. It also means that pedestrians must use sidewalks and crosswalks where available. Buses should only board and discharge passengers at a designated bus stop. Road safety is everyone's responsibility. It begins with you.
Smart introduces Real Unlimited postpaid plans, providing customers with unlimited talk, unlimited text, and unlimited data. Now that's a real great deal. With Smart Plus, Share 1 and 2, and Enterprise 1 and 2 plans, you can talk as much as you want, text as much as you want, and for the first time ever in Belize, you can enjoy unlimited data with your postpaid plan. So come in and sign up for an unlimited postpaid plan and enjoy limitless possibilities. In addition, other plans such as the Flex Junior, Choice, and Select have been boosted with a lot more talk, text, and data, providing you with the best value for your budget. Be unlimited with Smart.
It's time to power your dollar with Smart.
Investment Services Explained. In September 1999, SSB's Mortgage and Investment Unit was created. The unit later became the Investment Department in 2005 and officially Investment Services in October 2007. So, what is the Investment Services role? How does Investment Services help to support Social Security and you? And why is Investment Services important to Belize? Investment Services' function is to make prudent investments in the form of commercial loans, shares, and real estate development. The interest income generated from these investments ensures the fund is sustainable to pay current and future Social Security benefits to its insured persons. The investment income is used to support the working population and pay pensions such as retirement and invalidity. Additionally, investment loans support economic development through commercial loans to startup and existing businesses while aiding in increased production of goods and services. We can expect investment services to continuously impact the lives of every insured person through Social Security pensions. Investment services will continue to support the Belizean economy through secure investments in various industries. And that is why investment services exists. Social Security Board, an investment for you, your family, your future.
It's good to keep the environment clean. BSWAMA, step up the pace. They're going places to manage your waste. So make we stand and make well sure. No garbage left on the seashore. The whole of Belize we stay clean, cause we know say worth much more. We have pretty environment. So when you see the garbage on the ground, go after me and just bag it on.
Cleanliness has always been second nature to us. So let's work together to keep our surroundings beautiful and healthy.
No garbage in it.
The Belize City Council is owed over $33 million in property taxes. Of that figure, $12 million are in share penalties. A substantial amount has been owed for over 5 years, and now the Belize City Council is considering a proposal for central government to write off the total that is simply unable to collect. Today, when he appeared on Open Your Eyes, Belize City Mayor Bernard Wagner explained his rationale behind the proposal for a write-off.
Trouble me that night, make I sleep, right? Because I am seeing that this has been over 5 years. And so something is wrong there when someone is not paying for over 5 years. It either mean that the person can't pay. In my view, the person can't pay. So it makes no sense that you have on your balance sheet, on your asset side, monies that are owed to you that are uncollectible. So I am saying to our local government and our national government that make we get rid of that 12 million in penalties and interest. It make no sense I have that on my books. And I know I collect it. It's over 5 years. So, and then again I say, how about our elderly? How about our retired people? How about the indigent people who just can't pay? So we have to look at really reform in the context of how do we address those people that are indigent, the elderly, who can't pay. Why not look at a system where it's a flat rate for those indigent people, the elderly in our society, who can't pay, and have a flat rate of $100. Every year you do just $100. And make we look at, we write off a huge amount. I believe the past government wrote off millions and millions in a land tax. Why can't we look at a write-off system for property taxes for the indigent people, for the elderly in our society who are served, for retired public officers who are retired? They leave money when they get after they retire small, no? They just have to, only could use for pay with the light bill and the utility bill. So these are the type of things we at local government and national government have to look at. It's no sense having 33 million on my asset side and my balance sheet. They say like I got this, like I collect this. Then one over 5 years, brother, you're not collect it.
Wagner, who had at one time expressed interest in entering the political arena at the national level and who had been eyeballing the Albert constituency, seems to have a change of heart at this point in his career. Without specifically answering the question of whether he will run in the next general elections, Wagner said there are still projects he would like to complete at the municipal level.
I've been in the mayorship for 6 years. It's an abbreviated mayorship, I would say. 4 years, because 2 years without COVID. I think we were put there to serve the people during that challenging time. I really do believe that. I believe we were put there to be there when Lisa impacted our country and our city. I believe that there are certain projects still in the pipeline. We are driving towards a smart city. I couldn't even talk about it. We want to do the e-buses. We are looking at a fully automated off-street parking facility. We have so many things in the pipeline, and as a leader, you want to be in the position to still shepherd some of those activities.
Climate change has prompted the discussion on cutting down on greenhouse gas emissions and its overall impact on the planet's health. Those discussions began in Belize in 2018 with the shift from fuel-operated public buses to electric buses. Leading the charge in the discussion is the United Nations Development Program, which will gift a few buses to Belize to form part of the pilot project that's underway. Those buses will arrive in country shortly and will be deployed along specific routes in collaboration with the Ministries of Transport and Public Utilities and Energy. On Wednesday, the relevant ministries and the United Nations Development Program held a consultation exercise at the Biltmore Hotel with interested parties, including bus operators. The UNDP's Deputy Resident Representative, Ian King, explained that the buses will be tested along specific routes to gather data on how well they function and how feasible it will be to operate them in Belize.
Initially, there will be 2 buses running within Belize City, running a circuit within Belize City, and there'll be 3 other buses running intra-city, most definitely going from Belize City to West, Belmopan and Benke. And the idea is, again, to stress test, to run those to see how well they work and so on. So there'll be 3 buses. We expect the first buses for Belize City to be in Belize this year. Hopefully we have the intercity buses this year as well. Could be this year, it could be early next year. But the whole process, the project has started. It's part of Belize's strategy to address the reduction of its contribution to greenhouse gases and in the atmosphere.
Those at the helm have assured that the transition does not have any way seek to undermine bus operators who have been using fuel-operated buses for decades to transport commuters to their destinations. CEO in the Ministry of Energy and Public Utilities and Belize City Mayor Bernard Wagner, whose council will have custody of a couple of the new buses for city runs under the pilot project, assures existing bus operators of city shuttles that the intention is not to displace or undermine, but to help them.
What we're basically trying to achieve is to reduce the amount of greenhouse gases that the public transportation emits out to the atmosphere. So this allows us to align with all the international treaties that the government of Belize has signed on. What we can realistically say and what has been captured in different studies internationally is that 30% of greenhouse gases are emitted by the public transportation. And that is what we're trying to zoom in really, be it by electric buses or intra-city vehicular activity to transport people from point A to point B also. We're using this pilot project to, one, have a roadmap determined as to how we will roll out electric vehicles within our country. 2, to ensure that it is feasible for Belize. Belize is unique in its own way, so we also need to make sure that this pilot project also determines whether the private investors can come in and invest, and that investment makes sense, and that their return of investment is as per what they believe is right. And thirdly, it is for us to be able to determine what policies and incentives government needs to put in place to ensure that the ecosystem for electric vehicles is one that will increase the penetration of electric vehicles in country.
We are not here to compete with bus owners, right? We don't want to displace nobody, right? We are not about displacement. We are about integration and putting them in a position to win, or a position to become a very profitable type of entity. For years, these bus owners have been losing money due to the same diesel, where they fight for hold on to. We show them a new way will really increase their margins and make their margins look better.
But the route that you've identified for the city, it will be separate and aside from what they're running, or
it will cross along the paths, but our pricing mechanism is not to compete with them. Our pricing mechanism will be a bit above them, so as to ensure that we do not undersell them.
The Divine Mercy Church is hosting an art and culture fundraiser on Saturday night inside the church compound in Belize City. The event is called Art Under the Stars, Encountering God Through Beauty. The funds raised will be used to support the Mother of Mercy Montessori, a private educational institution led by the church here in Belize City. It is their hope that through these fundraising initiatives, the institution can extend its services to some of the neediest across the old capital.
Pre-COVID, we've had a couple of them. Now this is the first one after COVID. And it's a celebration of humanity, creativity, you could say. It is a fundraiser, it's a benefit event. But the main goal, we try to, in our fundraisers, to have a challenge or a principle, not to have getting money be the main goal of any kind of fundraiser. You need that to serve our mission, but I think the focus of this one really has to do with one of our pillars of Mother Mercy Montessori and culture. To be mindful of this, faith and culture comes together. We have over 100 artists, Belizean artists coming together. And they're coming together in a celebration of their talents. And so we have a series, a steel pan band coming in, a series of different artists coming through, physical art, poems, dance, you name it. And it really is, the theme is encountering God through beauty, right? And God ultimately, in Christianity, we believe that God who is spirit became a human person in the incarnation. And so you could say that God became beautiful to the eye.
All of this is happening in one night?
All this is one night. So this Saturday, May 20th, 7 p.m., we have a stage from Niche that's going to be out there, outdoor stage. We have the tables. We got the food concessions going to be happening. All the artists are going to have their own artist display where they are, and it's going to be quite fun.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available at channel5belize.com, on our Facebook and on YouTube. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us, and from all of us here at News 5, good night.